All right, guys, what's going on? We're back up here again for a, different stream tonight. As I promised, I'd be doing my top 10 WWE pay-per-view stream tonight, talking about some of my best worst pay-per-view names. But of course, I also said I want to come up here and talk some baseball. Also, haven't really talked some baseball in a while. Well, last thing I did was when I did my top 10 Ichiro moments stream. But again, I keep saying, I keep trying to find ways to talk more baseball on this channel. As I always say, I became a baseball fan way more than a wrestling fan. So I was going to try after every month to kind of just, talk about, what's been going on in the season at the end of each month. But unfortunately, my schedule was really wonky at the end of April. So I didn't get to do that. So it would be strange for me to start it then and just continue on. So I decided, do a baseball stream, but choose, a topic. And I did. I was going to do like a top 5 best and worst for this category, but I couldn't really come up with, 5 solid answers for each one. So then I remember at one point, I don't know if they still do because I don't have MLB Network. MLB Network has a Prime 9 list, which is listing 9 things. I couldn't say just top 9 or whatnot. So there were 9 teams that kind of fell into the whole thing, surprise results so far. Meaning, good, bad, like a team we didn't think was going to be that good actually was pretty good. Or a team that we thought was going to be good ends up being not so good or pretty bad. I wouldn't say we have any pretty disappointing results. Well, one for me from my predictions at the beginning of the season. So that's why I decided, you know what, let's do one list, and I'm going to take a phrase out of MLB Network and call this my Prime 9 list. This is going to be my Prime 9 major league teams with surprising results as of May 2017. As of this day, who are the 9 teams, whether it was good or bad, that I have been, surprised with how good or how bad they have been so far. Of course, one of the teams on this list is kind of getting out of the hurdle, but they were off to a really, really bad start. Of course, most of my predictions I got were correct so far, as far as, what divisions were going to be tough. The National League Central, my division, my hometown team, the Pirates, is definitely one of the closest divisions for sure, as even though, the Reds are in last place, they're not only down by 6 games to the Cubs, who got off to a pretty bad start, the Cubs, but they're only lost 5 games. I think 16-5, I think, in their last 21 games or something like that. Pirates are 4th place, around 500 as I expect them to be. Had some wins, had some, had an 8-game losing streak. They seemed not do well against the National League West for some reason this year. Cardinals and Brewers are hanging in there as well, being big threats as well. The National League East so far, has 3 teams in the hunt. One team that's definitely out for sure, and then another one that's very surprisingly not doing so good this year. Well, in my opinion, somewhat, but we'll talk about that. The American League, though, still feel like anybody's ball game, but not as dangerous of divisions as I thought. Of course, there's one team that's doing pretty good that is surprising that I put on this list. Not because I didn't think they were going to be good. I knew they were going to be a good team this year, but because of, the injury bug. There's one team that seems like they have everyone in their starting lineup on the IL, and they're somehow right on the tail in 2nd place, having one of the best records in baseball right now. But of course, let's get into my Prime 9 Major League Baseball teams with surprising results as of May 2019. So we're going to start with my number 9. Last year's World Series champions, the Boston Red Sox. I put them on this list because, they're getting back in the hunt. They're in 3rd place now in the American League East with just barely, I think, 1 or 2 games over 500, though. This team got off to a pretty bad start. The offense was not there. The pitching was not there, especially Chris Sale, their ace, who, racks up all the strikeouts all the time, is just one of the most dominating left-handers on the mound. And unfortunately, this has not been one of his best seasons so far. His last start, though, he did have definitely, the best outing of his seasons for sure. Maybe of his career, I don't know. Is he no hitter? I can't remember if Sale's no hitter or not. But He had 17 strikeouts recently in a game, which is pretty darn awesome. The pieces are starting to come together. I mean, there's a couple of names that are definitely starting to get back in shape with the bullpen. I mean, their hitting seems like it's on par again with Mitch Moreland hitting for some power. We got JD Martinez getting back up to his MVP numbers. Mookie Betts is getting up there. Xander Bogaerts. They had a new third baseman. I can't remember what his name was, but I know he's up there. Putting up some good results. Andrew Benintendi's getting rolling. The biggest offensive woe for them so far this year has been Jackie Bradley. He's only hitting like $150 or something like that, which is not too good. But they're getting back into contention. But at the beginning of the year, it just looked bad. Actually, I was reading an MLB.com article, watching ESPN.com articles, giving all teams grades so far. Believe it or not, the team had the worst grade with the Red Sox. I mean, the Orioles had an F. Red Sox had an F minus. At least not as bad as the Marlins. The Marlins like 10-39 or something like that. I can't remember what exactly the record is, but it's probably 10-31, but it's pretty bad. It's really bad, people. But yeah, so that's number 9 is the Red Sox. But hopefully, with the talent they have on that team, they can definitely get back up in contention again because there's 2 teams really kicking some butt up towards the top, especially one of them that knew it was going to be good, but not as good as they have been so far. But my number 9, the Boston Red Sox, on the down. Number 8, another team with a big thumbs down. Well, I shouldn't say big thumbs down because like the Red Sox, they're kind of starting to get back in contention, but this team got off to another rough start as well. The Rockies. And yes, some of their hitters, are still struggling a little bit. Ian Desmond is still, kind of not really producing too well, which he hasn't really done too well in general since coming to the Rockies. Nolan Arenado, though, is starting to get hot again. He got to a pretty slow start, though. I don't know if it's the weight of that new 8-year contract extension he signed to stay in Colorado. But it's obviously also the offense is starting to come back together. I mean, they are missing, DJ LeMahieu, who has moved on to the Yankees. Carlos Gonzalez, who did not re-sign, and he's now off to the I think he got purchased by the Indians. I know he signed with them, but I wasn't sure if he made the club. I thought I heard his contract was purchased from the minors, so Cargo could be getting some time in Cleveland. But I know they have David Dahl up now. Trevor Story, I think, might have had a minor injury. I can't remember. Arenado's getting back on track now. So the offense, I think, is coming back to life. The pitching's getting better, but of course, one of the biggest blunders so far has been Kyle Freeland, who pitched that outstanding game in the outstanding 2-1 wild card win for the Rockies over the Cubs. That literally just put the staple on the Cubs' collapse at the end of last season. Whenever they, they fell back to the Brewers, who they had to play a tiebreaker game with them. Cubs lost, and then they lost to the Rockies, so they just completely collapsed. And again, the Cubs got off to a bad start, but again, they're 16-5 in their last 21 games, and they're back on top of first place in, again, one of the toughest divisions for sure this year, National League Central. Excuse me. But man, I'm all gassy tonight. But Kyle Freeland, I feel has been one of their pitchers really struggled. He's 2-5, an ERA over 6. He's getting up 12 home runs. I think he's walked 21 batters over 40-some innings. So he's definitely getting, rocked pretty hard, if you know what I mean. But again, they started off, I knew at one point they were 3-12. Now they're maybe 2 to 4 games under 500 in 4th place in the National League West. Hopefully, the Rockies can. I've always, been a little bit of an underrated Rockies fan. They're always an underrated team. They always have the bats courses and they play in Coors Field, even though, I still say some of these guys would still be good even if they didn't play in Coors Field. But their pitching has gotten a lot better definitely the past couple of years. And I've always said they have the pitching, they have the hitting, they're going to be an excellent ball team. So I hope they definitely get back in contention for sure, because there's been, of course, some surprising results in this National League West for sure, especially considering one team as well that's a lot better this year than I thought they would be. But my number 8 on my prime 9 list is the Rockies. Number 7 is a team that predicted to do good this year, and they're doing good. But based off of the injury bug, this team is doing much, much, much more better than you'd expect a team with a bunch of injuries to do, and that is the New York Yankees. They have players like Giancarlo Stanton, who's missed most of the season already. Aaron Judge, who's got off to a decent start, but then he suffered an injury. He's out for who knows when. Luis Servino is hurt. I think Didi Gregorius may be hurt. I can't remember. There's a bunch of other prospects are hurt. Greg Bird once again is hurt again. Greg Bird, I think the Yankees need to give up on viewing Greg Bird as their future first baseman because he just gets hurt. He's never active. He's always getting injured. But they got a great replacement for him and Lance Voigt, who has been off to a great start so far. Of course, DJ LeMay, who's been some depth to add to their infield at second base, along with Gleyber Torres. I think he just hit a 3-homer game the other day. But DJ LeMay, who's been definitely been a great name to add in there for their offense. Gary Sanchez, he did have a brief injury, but he's back and he's had good numbers with the power numbers so far. I definitely think he'll be a 40-homer catcher someday soon. I mean, I had hope, of course, after he had 20 homers in 50 games in his rookie season. I think the year after he got to a slow start, but then after the home run derby, he just going on a tear again. So I'm hoping he'll get to the top, into the 40-homer mark someday. And I think Luis Servino is injured, but this team is still hanging in there. They still got a great bullpen with Zach Britton and Aroldis Chapman. But I'm just saying, they're surprised because they're in second place or tied for first place with the first place team, who is towards the top, actually at the top of my Prime 9 list for surprise teams so far. They only have 16 losses, 26 and 16 or something. They're still a great ball team, the Yankees, despite the fact they're missing most of their key players. I think they have 17 people on the injured list, I think it is, or something like that. But somehow they're hanging in there, and they are kicking some butt with these young stars. So Yankees, number 7 for my Prime 9 MLB teams with surprise results. Number 6. This may, of course, be because of one big name they signed this offseason, but a team who has a winning record is currently beating the Pirates right now with a score of 1-0 as a half hour ago. But with a score of 1-0, of course, and Franmil Reyes had another home run, who's been supplying. If that is how you pronounce his name, if not, I apologize. Hit a home run, but he's been supplying the power for the Padres so far. Most of it, he's leading with 12 home runs. Manny Machado, the average is a little bit down. He's only hitting 267, but he's still displaying great defense. He has some good power so far as well. 9 homers, I think, for the Padres with his first year with his new team. So he's not doing too bad in San Diego, but he's definitely a blue chip for definitely their success around their young talent, team. Will Myers is still doing all right. Eric Hosmer, of course, is having a good year, his second year of his 8-year deal with the Padres, and the pitching for sure for Padres is definitely established, especially with a Cy Young candidate rookie Chris Paddock as well, or else he's not a rookie. I can't remember for sure, but I think he is because he was told he was going to make the Major League club while coming off the mound his final spring training appearance. It was one of his spring training appearances, but he's had an outstanding season so far, and a few other names of the Padres have been in there. They have, I think, the league leader in saves, Kirby Yates, as well. So, I thought the Padres would be a little bit better team, but they're in third place, over the Rockies and Giants. The Giants I knew were probably going to be, one of the worst teams in the National League West. I think they were going to be the absolute in last place, though, because a team that is high up on this list that's surprising me also so far this year. The Padres, definitely, starting to see a little bit of light, I'd say, especially with, adding a couple of veterans throughout the past several years, Will Myers, Eric Hosmer, and even Manny Machado. And some of the young stars are starting to come around like Reyes. And also they have Fernando Tatis Jr. up there as well. So, Junior, of course, we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. up for the Blue Jays, and he's doing pretty good so far, last I knew. Fernando Tatis Jr. is another vital part of this Padres lineup. And, they're starting to, season out for sure. And I think they're probably going to, be a team to, contend soon, I'd say. So I got to say the Padres are my number 6 team on my Prime 9 MLB teams with surprising results as of May 2019. Number 5, they have a losing record now. They're 22-24. But this is a team that I really thought was going to suck this year. But so far, they're off to a pretty good start. They're at second place in their division. Well, have a losing record, being second place is always really not great to look at. I mean, I thought their division was going to be close, but a little bit closer than that. But Seattle Mariners pitching's not been too bad. Still has that new Japanese guy. His name is not going to try to butcher it. They don't have James Paxton anymore. And yes, it looks like the days of King Felix are slowly fading away, and he's slowly, becoming, the not so sharp starter that he once was. But they still have some decent pitching. But of course, the biggest thing that's been giving the Mariners their wins, they obviously don't have a lot of high average hitters for sure. That's a fact. Their power. They have a lot of power this year, displaying a ton of home runs from guys like Jay Bruce to Double E Edwin Encarnacion to that Vogelbach, whatever his name is, that big lefty. He's also displaying power. Mitch Haniger is in there as well. Tim Beckham, who was, of course, drafted before Pedro Alvarez the year Pedro Alvarez was drafted by the Pirates. Yeah, of course, now Pedro is pretty much doomed the way it is. But Tim Beckham, I think, is finally getting that breakthrough season he's been looking for. The offense has some, despite the fact there's not too many, average hitters in there. There's a lot of power in that line for sure. Showing that's what been giving the Mariners a lot of their wins this year so far. They add some starting pitching, and of course they do have some other, through the trades again going into this offseason. It was made well aware to me that it was going to be a big offseason. The Mariners were going to be losing Nelly Cruz, and they did trade Robinson Cano and their closer, who tied Francisco Rodriguez for the second most saves in a single season last year with 57. They traded Robbie Cano and Edwin Diaz to the Mets. Before that trade was made well aware that the Mariners were a team that they didn't really have many prospects at all. And they're definitely going to be, probably going to a rebuilding stage soon. Well, they instead, picked up some veterans such as, Edwin Encarnacion, and they also grabbed Jay Bruce. So, but not having high batting averages, but both have with 12 home runs, displaying some of that power. They traded away, of course, JP Arancibia, but they got of course they have Tim Beckham now in there, and of course JP Crawford is another is a prospect they got from the Phillies. I think someone I mentioned for a possible Rookie of the Year this year, I think. But JP Crawford was acquired also. And there's through those trades, they got several prospects, and now they're starting to see some life for sure. As hopefully the Mariners sometimes do, especially of course since I've always the Mariners been probably my second favorite team I've followed since I've watched baseball again because of Ichiro, who of course retired earlier this year during that Japan series, just finish off his career, which I felt was the exact way for him to retire, as I said in my Ichiro top 10. But this power numbers, some decent pitching. This team does have some type of ball rolling. And, if they could add maybe a couple more names for sure, this could be a contending team maybe once again. They were a contending team the past couple of years, but, keep them up there for sure. Maybe finally break out that playoff drought and whatnot they've been. And then, still have to win a World Series, so why not? So, yeah, Mariners, surprising power. They're 22-24 right now, but they're still, hanging around for sure and haven't shown some surprising results so far. But that's my number 5 on this Prime 9 list. The Seattle Mariners is a positive. So far, before we get to the top 4, Red Sox, Rockies, Yankees because of all their injuries. Ding! Padres because of all their injuries. I mean, Padres because of, their veterans and, young talent starting to blossom. Ding! Mariners because of all their power bats. Ding! And now we're going to move on to the team that I thought was going to be in last place this year in the National League West, the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think they're like 24-20 or 25-20. Love to kick the Pirates' butts. Hashtag beat up the Bucks. Or if you're a wrestling fan and know the whole catchphrase of beat up John Cena, we can be friends, of course. But anyways, so again, the Diamondbacks, of course, besides the fact that they've been able to beat up the Pirates so far this season, have actually had a very surprising season. I thought they were going to be headed towards, a rebuilding stage because they lost 2 of their biggest hitters in A.J. Pollock and Paul Goldschmidt. So that offense needed to be filled for sure. They lost one of their key starting pitchers in Patrick Corbin, who's gone off to the Nationals. But they've had some names such as especially Christian Walker, their new first baseman. Like he's taken over as every first baseman. He's put on some great numbers for sure. David Peralta's having a great year. Same with Nick Ahmed and a few other players. That offense is still shining. And of course, also another late spring training acquisition they signed, former star outfielder for the Orioles, Adam Jones. He's been a great addition as well. He can still go. I mean, he's definitely not as young as he used to be. He was kind of like the Orioles Andrew McCutchen, if you know what I mean, for the longest time. Of course, a former top prospect for the Mariners, and then he spent several years with the Orioles. Even during the times when the Orioles were a contending team, not like last year when they were 45-117 or something like that. Again, it's a really bad year for the Orioles. And I think the Marlins, the Orioles are, look like they can at least maybe knock out 50 wins this year, maybe. But the Marlins, though, I think are the team that are really going to, maybe suffer as bad. But the Diamondbacks, though, I've really been surprised. And they still have some names in that rotation, such as Ruby Ray, Zach Greinke, a couple names in the bullpen. They do have one of the best closers I felt in recent memory, who's been kind of bouncing back and forth between teams ever since he left. I think the Royals, I think it was he was once with. He's bounced around between them, the Rockies, and now so he's bounced around a little bit. But Greg Holland, they have him as well as their closer. So I think the Diamondbacks, they're putting up a very interesting fight so far behind the team that has as of now, last I knew, the best record in baseball, the Dodgers, with 29 wins. So it's not really too big of a gap between the best and worst record, but the Dodgers have one of the best records so far, for sure. But yeah, Diamondbacks definitely one team I'm very surprised. I thought they were going to be in like a rebuilding stage, one of the worst teams in the league this year, but they're definitely kicking some butt so far. So Diamondbacks number 4 is a thumbs up. Number 3, a team that I thought was going to be better this year, but as of now, as I saw, they had the second best record in the majors. Well, second most wins at least. And they're in first place, ahead of the team that I thought was going to win the division for how many years in a row it is. I've lost track at this point. The Minnesota Twins. So the Twins, of course, have definitely put together some solid pitching over the past several years. They just needed their offense to blossom. Well, of course, Eddie Rosario for the Twins is having a pretty good year so far. He's among the league leaders in home runs at 13 in the entire league. Byron Buxton's having a better year at the plate right now so far. He's hitting like 282 and whatnot. Max Kepler supplying power. They, of course, also got, again, Nelly Cruz. They got Jonathan Scope as well, who has definitely become a much more vital middle infielder for sure for them. And, of course, then the pitching is just rock solid right now for sure for the Twins. Don't they have Jake Oridozzi, or whatever his name is, who's been on a roll lately as well, with the great numbers. So again, the pitching's coming together, the young offense is coming together as well, with a couple of veterans added in there again in Scope and Nelson Cruz. And again, they're ahead of the Indians. The Indians, of course, they gave up some names last in the offseason for sure. So they're definitely not as dangerous of a team, but I still felt they were good enough to win this division, but not as easily. But right now, the Twins are looking like the better team right now for sure. And right now, like I said before, they have the second best record in the majors behind the Dodgers. So definitely hats off to the Twins for sure for being a contending team as well. So that is my number 3. Number 2, big thumbs down for the team that I think I predicted to win the National League pennant, the Washington Nationals. 4th place in the National League East. I still thought the Nationals could contend. It's the end of the Bryce Harper era, that's for sure. Excuse me. I thought that maybe the chemistry with Harper and the Nationals was not there, because the Nationals still had players such as they have the rookie Juan Soto. They still Trey Turner, Anthony Rendon. Ryan Zimmerman's not really doing too well. Yan Gomes isn't really hitting as well as I thought he would when the Nationals acquired him from the Indians. Adam Eaton's doing okay. Being back with Victor Robles, who basically replaced Harper, like 250, like 8 homers, not too bad. Of course, one of the biggest busts so far for them has been Brian Dozier, the new second baseman. Trey Turner, though, is back. He was been out for most of the year with an injury. But he just came off the IL like just today or or yesterday or whatnot. So he's definitely a great asset to the top of their order. So he'll hopefully turn things around. But again, Brian Dozier just really has struggled. Pitching, those starters have been just okay. I mean, not great, but okay. But I think the biggest Achilles heels definitely for the Nationals has been their bullpen. Other than their closer, Sean Doolittle, they've really not done a good job that bullpen. I mean, they've been bad. The Pirates bullpen has been bad this year. The Pirates bullpen has what been costing the Pirates most of their losses this season, I feel. Of course, the Nationals, though, but a team that always the past 10 years since the signings or the drafting of them, both Harper and Strasburg. The one thing the Nationals have always been known for sure is their pitching. But unfortunately this year, especially the bullpen, it's not working out besides Doolittle. So the Nationals, the team that of course I predicted to go to them to be the National League pennant winner, not going to happen. Anytime soon, at least, unless they get hot. They're 18-25, and to me, so far, they're the biggest disappointing team for sure in the major leagues as of May 2019. But my most surprising team, I knew this team was going to be better, despite the fact they traded with one of their best pitchers to us. I gotta say, so far, they're winning the deal. Last year, the Tampa Bay Rays traded Chris Archer to the Pirates for Tyler Glasnow, who has great stuff, but has always struggled with his control. And Austin Meadows, who I still wish we didn't get rid of. I mean, I am liking, what Brian Reynolds has done so far, filling in for guys like Marte and, Corey Dickerson, who has been out since like the fourth game of the season with a shoulder injury. But again, Archer has, I like Archer, but he has been a little inconsistent with us for sure. But the Tampa Bay Rays, again, they had 90 wins. They were the best team that did not make the playoffs. And I thought they were at least going to, be up there, right there with both the Yankees and Red Sox. But as of now, they're just killing it. One of the best teams in the league. Some great starting pitching as well. Blake Snell is still, doing all right. Their last year's Cy Young Award winner. We also, again, had Tyler Glasnow and a couple other names I remember reading for how good they're doing with their pitching this year. Of course, again, Tyler Glasnow is leading that pitching staff. He just suffered an injury. He's going to be out for a little bit. But, of course, the offense, and one of the best hitters on the team, Austin Meadows, who missed some time in injury, but he's hitting like 350 with 8 homers. He's producing as he's supposed to be doing. They have a couple other, young talent that I know today that Yasny Diaz, whatever his name is, and that what was that second baseman's name? I can't remember. He's a young second baseman. He's doing some great stuff as well with the bat. Things like the young crew, like the Rays have always been like a young crew team, and definitely they don't have too many veterans, but they had some big names for sure come over in some trades recently, and they're really contending. Like, I've always wanted to see the Rays succeed. I've probably been behind the Rays a little bit more since they had their run to the World Series, and of course lose to the Phillies in 2008. But they've definitely been contenders, and they could maybe contend again. They're going to have a lot of young talent in there. I mean, they have some players who've been there for a while, doing some good stuff. But the Rays, my goodness, again, they're one of the best teams so far, and one of the biggest surprises so far in baseball this year on the positive side. But that's why my Rays are my number one for my prime 9 MLB teams with surprising results as of May 2019. So my list, number 9 was the Boston Red Sox. Thumbs down because they're slow start, but they're getting back on track. Number 8 is the Colorado Rockies. Thumbs down because of the slow start, but they're getting back on track. Number 7 is the Yankees. Thumbs up because they have so many people injured, but they're still one of the best teams in the league somehow with their young talent. Number 6 is the Padres. Thumbs up because, with their veterans and, some of their younger talent starting to blossom, they're definitely starting to become contenders. Number 5, the Mariners. Thumbs up. People, again, we went into this past season, they did a fire sale because they didn't have any prospects. Now they grabbed a couple veterans and they're trading some prospects, so they've kind of been winning by getting a lot of power bats. Pitching's decent, but they add a couple arms another arm or two in there. It's pretty solid. You're looking at a pretty good team for sure. Number 4 is the Diamondbacks, team that I thought was going to not be too good this year because they don't have Goldschmidt or Pollock anymore, or Patrick Court, but they still have some big names, and some people who replace them. So there's Christian Walker, especially replacing Goldschmidt. It's done very well so far. They're on number 4. Number 3 is the Minnesota Twins. I thought they were going to be a better team, but I think they were going to be, having the second best record in baseball, with 28 wins, with their great pitching and their young offensive hitting team with 2 veterans in Nelson Cruz and Jonathan Scope, definitely helping out. Number 2, and the biggest thumbs down for me so far has been the Nationals. Their bullpen is what's really hurting them. I mean, they have some. Well, speaking of which, Brian Reynolds was homered, and it's a 2-run lead now for the Pirates. Nice. Again, it's just their bullpen's been struggling. Their starting pitching's been just okay. Their offense has been all right, but that bullpen especially is just really hurting them. And they're 18-25 in 4th place in their division. But the biggest surprise team that was so far has been the Rays. The young talent they've gotten the past couple years from the trades are really coming through, especially, again, former Pirates Tyler Glasnow and Austin Meadows. And guys, that is my prime 9 Major League Baseball teams with surprising results as of 2019. Guys, what are your surprise teams so far for baseball? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if there's always a slap a like on my video, subscribe for more content, come on my channel, and follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirbrine3. I'll try to get more of these baseball streams in for sure to share some more of my baseball knowledge. So until then, guys, have a great rest of your night. I will see you guys all later. Expect some the last batch of my baseball players be uploaded this weekend from the 2019 season for my retired players. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your night. And yeah, peace out, everybody.